What is up, guys? Woodsrunner 1776 here, and today we are going to be doing a review of a knife called the PLSK1. Alright guys, this knife was made famous, I believe designed after an old trade knife, 1800s, mountain man era, and it was made famous by Dave Canterbury. I believe he was very instrumental. This was originally, if he could only pick one tool to go out in the woods, I believe he designed this knife just for that. Now, dimensions, I'll give you some close-ups later, but this is pretty thick, which I thought, you know, originally would be difficult for, you know, detail work. But I like it, honestly. It is carbon steel, and I think the asking price is like $250, $300. I can't remember. But I bought it back in 2015. I'm sure it's changed. Blind Horse Knives, Battle Horse Knives. They're Battle Horse now. BHK. Go ahead, look them up. But let's get to it. We're going to build a small fire here. Cook this chunk of venison from that deer I shot. And yeah, got a nice micarta handle, very comfortable. The sheath is pretty nice. I got the older one that's part Kydex. It has a ferro rod holder on the side with a leather belt loop, so it's kind of a hybrid. Took it off my belt so I could show it to you. But yeah, let's get into some carving here. So I do have a bunch of maple here that we're just going to test this on. That's pretty standard for this area. We do have pines, but I think maple should be a good test. Now this stick is kind of curved, but let's see if we can sharpen it to a point. This is a more natural cutting position. Alright, taking off plenty of wood here. Very easy. Alright, and we just want this sharp enough for dirt. I'm actually going to make this into a tent stake here for demonstration purposes. That's a pretty standard test. I will put the specifications of this knife in the description, as well as a link to where you can buy it. Not a link I get money from or anything, just for your reference. Alright, we got a pretty nice point on there, and that was pretty quick. So now we are going to, let's chop it off right there by batoning. I don't normally baton a lot of my knives, but this one is so thick that it definitely doesn't hurt it. See if we can get a pretty clean cut on here. Alright, snapped off about halfway through. That's nice. We can kind of carve it flat, so when we're pounding it into the ground, we have a strike surface. It doesn't mushroom out. And now what we're going to do is cut a little notch in it just by pressing in and then curving towards the cut and stopping, and we take that out and pushing and repeating the process. I will come a little bit closer so that you can see this up close. Alright, curving down, and then cutting it off there. Trying not to cut towards myself here. And we don't need to go too deep with this, otherwise it compromises the integrity of the stick. Especially since we're doing this so close to the top. But that should be good here. And we could actually definitely make this a lot cleaner if we wanted to, if we took our time, but if it's going to be a single-use tent stake, that's a pretty good notch. You know, we can tie some cord around there, pound this end into the ground, and, you know, tie off your ridge line to it. So, now that we got that out of the way, gonna baton through this again. This one's the baton I was gonna use. Alright, very easy. And this is maple. And we'll try a bigger piece here. And this is quite long, over a foot, I would say. Maybe not 2 feet, but got our baton here. Alright. Stand for this. Oh yeah. Easily right down the middle. And it kind of tapered off to one side here. But this stick does happen to have a lot of knots in it. And this is just kind of standard stuff you could use for kindling. We are actually going to build a fire. I said that already. And yeah, we can use some of this stuff here to help it get started. And maple's not the best wood for feather sticking. But it can be done here. Let me show you. This stuff is all curvy anyway. Alright, just do some detail work here. Gonna choke up on it. Take our time. Get nice curly feathers. And they don't have to be perfect. We're gonna burn them. So they just need to be a little bit. Oops. Need to be just light, just like feathers, thin enough so that fire engulfs them quickly, and we can kind of slide here. And then as we get deeper, generally I start to take thicker feathers here. And alright, so we have a feather stick here. I will bring the camera in for a close-up. Alright, got our close-up in, and I will set that off to the side here. We'll build our fire right here and transfer it to that pit once we get it started. So, going to do the detail work a little bit more here. A smaller piece of wood. Just kind of, that's the thing. Sometimes they split off, but you can always carve more or get another piece of wood. And this is not what we will actually strike the ferro rod at. This is something that we will use kind of as a match, kindling more than tinder. So we got that there. There's my pile. And you need a lot of wood to start a fire when it's wet, but when it's dry you really can get away with less than you may think. So I'm just gonna kind of hurry through this. Next piece of wood. Alright, I heard it break. Another piece of maple here. And let's get to the big stuff. Interesting, this boy's got a fat knot on it. And that is again more than a foot long. Probably about all you could do with this knife, maybe a little bigger, but this is actually cherry. So it's another hardwood, very hard actually. And we'll set it here. I cut it down last year with a chainsaw and it's been sitting on the ground, but it is still plenty solid. Alright, we're in there. No problem. Oh yeah, you can see in there it's not rotten at all. It definitely still has integrity. So we're going to take this one more time and split her down. That one veered off to the side, kind of split out on us. No big deal. Put that in the kindling pile here. Split this other half of it. That is also still intact here. And beating her down. People say it's hard on a knife. I mean, it is if you look, if your knife is a piece of, tin that's drop forged in China. All right, guys. Take this neighbor has like a leaf blower going there. Take this biggest piece of cherry we got here, and as you can see, you only have inch and a half of the knife sticking out, so this is about the biggest that we could possibly test this on, and it is a hardwood, so a little trouble getting into her there, but it does seem to be splitting. No problem. Split this again here. Okay, that split off there. They do that sometimes. Alright, and we have one final piece of cherry here. We are going to cross-grain batoning. That means we're going to cut in here and here and kind of beaver our way in. Now, let's see here. This, again, was on the ground for a little while, but it is definitely still quite hard. Very intact. Alright, and we just kind of beaver our way in like we would with an axe. There we go, guys. I don't know what that loud noise is over there. Neighbor's chainsawing or something, but excellent knife. Still razor sharp. Another thing I like about these knives, and that's not an expensive thing, is that the spine is actually thick and it's squared off, so it's you can almost use it like a scraper. So, grab my feather stick here. Actually, let's use this one. Piece of wood here. And as you can see, we got shavings like crazy. It feels like this wood is a little bit damp on the inside, so we may have trouble igniting them with a spark from a ferro rod. But one thing we can do that will help us here is I went to a pine tree and I kind of dug this out of it, split it off the side. It's just a outdoor piece of pine I just gathered here, but it was dry because it was on the inside. So we'll just scrape this and... Alright guys, so I forgot how bad things go when you're trying to film. My neighbor came over unexpectedly and started harassing me. Kind of an old guy, weird, but we're good now. What I did, the fire was going and he cut in, so I put it out for you guys. I removed the charred, most of the charred scrapings here, and I shaved some stuff off this piece of pine, and we're going to try to start over, I guess, again. So, do a couple more of these. I mean, it's really just a test of the knife. Alright, so we got our little pile here. Not nearly enough, but got to hit it a bunch of times till it catches, just like that. And then quickly, we'll add these kind of like matches and catch them before the scrapings pile goes out. And alright, so we got camera on here again, and this was very minimal material here. I had more scrapings, but you see the flames, and definitely take your time with this. Like I said, I'm almost shivering, I'm so cold. I don't know if you could tell, but those are really bad ferro rod scrapes. So we got our fire started here on the stump, and now what we're going to do, we are going to transfer it to the pit. Actually, we're just going to build it on the ground, honestly. A lot of leaves in there. But stay tuned for part 2, where I cook the venison with a roasting fork. That's what this is called. That was made by a blacksmith, and that blacksmith is actually me. So stay tuned. See this sucker in use.